everyone. Hi. Welcome to episode 4 of the ALANAmagazine Podcast. I'm so excited. Every episode, I get the jitters, and I'm just so happy to be here to talk with you guys and to explore the world of fashion tech. I have here with me the wonderful, talented, creative, uh, digital fashion designer, 3D generalist, and illustrator Jessica James. Hi, Jessica.
Hi. Hi, everyone.
It's nice to finally meet you, Jessica. Could you let us know what part in the world are you talking to us from?
Okay, I'm currently talking to everyone from Lagos, Nigeria, currently.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I love how uh the Elahn project and Elahn Magazine connects everyone from all sides of the globe. I think that is like the most cool part of the project. And we're here to talk about your contributions to the magazine, but also your incredible journey, your skills, that fabulous top that you're wearing. So let me back up and ask you, what is the most meaningful item that you are wearing today?
I would say my blouse, my top. Um, so before I started my journey into digital fashion, I am still a traditional fashion designer. So I have my own brand. I need to stop saying everything in past tense because it's still in existence, right? But
You have your own brand.
this
Yes.
was yeah. Yes, this was one of
Awesome.
the best-selling pieces from one of my collections. I think my very first collection, and
Oh my
I
gosh.
decided to wear it. Yeah, I decided to wear it today because like most of like my first pieces I made, they don't fit anymore. So this was like one of the only pieces that fits me right now because it's
Yeah.
been a couple of years and like a couple of pounds after. So
Uh,
it doesn't it
it
doesn't feel
still
as
looks
much,
great on
but
you.
yeah, I actually really love this is like one of my favorite pieces I designed for my collection, and the audience or my clients loved it so much. It was one of like the best selling pieces when I was still selling physical fashion pieces
Hmm.
back in I think 2019, 2020. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, yeah.
Mhm.
What would you call this piece? Like, is there a name for it? It looks so beautiful.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've forgotten the name. Hold on, I need to check my Instagram. I
Blooming sun.
yeah, I remember now. Is the bume blouse, bume top?
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, it's
okay.
the bume top. Yeah, that's why I called it. So it had like I made sure that every piece I made had an African name to it because obviously like I'm representing the continent and I'm proudly Nigerian, and like most of my
Hmm.
designs kind of reflect my culture and like where I'm from. So
Oh, I love that. So, what was it like to design this top and then to bring it to life? Like, was it challenging? Was it fun? Did it like force you to like grow or learn? Like, how was that experience for you?
yeah, so it was scary if I'm being honest right now, it was really, really
Hmm.
scary because of the construction that went into it. So it has like a bustier kind of top and almost like a
Yeah.
corset bottom. So it was very hard in terms of like pattern drafting because I had to like create the patterns myself and to also make
Yeah.
sure that it actually fit across board for my like size chart. So that was like the most challenging part of creating this design because there was no point of a design being pretty and it not being able to fit your clientele.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
like one of the most challenging part. The fit, I had to get the fit right, and once I did, it was smooth sailing from then on.
Oh, that's awesome. I know. I feel like
Yeah.
that's a really great point that it can't just be pretty. It has to also fit. And I will say, I think that is sometimes the challenging part in fashion. Like some things are just
Mhm.
too pretty, but if you put them on, like heels, certain heels, like it's like
No,
torture, but they're
it's
beautiful.
so
They're
uncomfortable.
beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
that was also one of the things I had to consider when I was running, or when I started running my physical brand, because I like pretty things. I like to create pretty things, but I also needed to make sure that it was flattering on my clients, because that's the only
Yes.
way sales can happen. Like if someone buys it, it needs to be able to fit, and the person also needs to be able to look good in those pieces to be able to come back and
Feel
say, I
good.
recommend my brand to someone else. Exactly, feel good.
That is such a great point, and I think that is something that maybe anyone who's watching this should probably remember if they are interested in fashion, like to also think about how it makes a person feel. I think that's a
Yeah.
great advice right there. So,
Yeah.
Jessica,
Mhm.
so can you tell us a little bit about your craft as an illustrator, 3D generalist, and digital fashion designer? How is that? And maybe if you want to break it down bit by bit.
I will try my best. So,
Yeah.
I started out in fashion as an illustrator. The first service any client paid me for was illustration, and it was
Oh.
traditional illustration. So I used to draw with paper and pencil, watercolors, markers, all of those things. So I used to do that a lot for Nigerian brands.
Okay.
Illustrating your designs and also designing, you know, for them. And that was how I started out in fashion. For as long as I can remember growing up, I always knew how to draw. So drawing was like a talent I had growing up. I used to steal like my dad's company's letterheads to like draw on them and like, just literally release my creativity. And that was like my medium at the
Mhm.
time before I graduated to digital illustrations. And like then I got an iPad and I started illustrating using an iPad before I
Oh,
moved
that's
on
nice.
to, yeah, it's fun. It's more fun illustrating on
Techie.
iPad. Yeah. Yeah, it's more fun, but like there was a learning curve, I won't lie, because the surface of the iPad didn't feel like paper, so it was kind of hard
Mhm.
balancing my strokes on my iPad as well as I do. But if I'm being totally honest, I still feel like I prefer pen to paper drawings
Okay.
than iPads or digital drawings. Till today, I still have my croquis book or my sketchbook. I do like quick sketches in anytime I'm doing like a creative project. So that's why I start from every single time before I jump into my iPad for more finished illustrations. Uh,
Mhm.
I got into the tech space in 2020 during the
Yeah.
COVID lockdown. Yeah, so
Same.
there wasn't anything anyone was doing at the time. No one was going out, so while we were making clothes, so I couldn't make anything, and I needed an outlet for my creativity. And then I watched the show. What's her name? Hanifa's digital fashion show, and it literally
Honey
blew my
fuzz.
mind. Hanifa, yeah, that's her name.
Huh. Okay.
She's a fashion
Okay.
brand, yeah, and like she had these ghost mannequins of garments literally strutting down the runway, and it was so mind blowing
Ooh.
because I'd never seen anything like that before. That was like my first real contact with digital fashion, and I'm like, no, I need to know more about this, and I started doing
Yeah.
research. At the time, yeah, at the time I didn't even have a laptop because I only had an iPad and I was doing my
Oh, wow.
digital illustration. So I was disappointed to find out that the clothes software, the Marvelous Designer software doesn't work on the iPad, and I needed to get a laptop, and not just any laptop, a gaming laptop. So no one literally prepared me for the barrier to entry into digital
Mhm.
fashion. But I kind of like, I was so hung up on it. Like, I really wanted to get into the space, and I did everything I could. So I had borrowed my brother's laptop at the time. It was very frustrating
Oh, how
working in
kind.
clothes.
That's a kind
Yeah,
brother.
no, everyone was home, so it wasn't like he was
Okay.
using it all the time. So anytime he wasn't using it, I would just grab it and try to do something inside of Clo. And then paying the subscription for Clo $50 was a lot. So
Oh,
I needed
yeah.
to make sure I was
Yeah.
using my $50, every single time I pay for my subscription, right? So
Mhm.
then there wasn't like a lot of tutorials online as there are now. So people coming
Yeah.
into the digital fashion space are like, at this time, they're very, very lucky, because at the time I started, there wasn't like a lot of tutorials to help you come into the space easier, and it
Mhm.
was kind of hard. But what made it a little bit easier for me was because I had a background in pattern drafting and like actual traditional fashion making clothes. I know what seams look like, I know what patterns look like, and stuff like that. So it was a bit easier for me to get into the space. And
Yeah.
yeah, then the clubhouse era came, NFTs in like people
Dang,
trying to.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was a
yeah, I
mess.
remember that.
2020 was a mess. Like, I wasn't alone. I wasn't bored, because you could just jump into any clubhouse room and like meet people from different parts of the world and literally just talk. I met Stella from, I think it was one of the digital fashion groups that we had at the time. And literally
Oh,
everyone was
wow.
coming together to produce or to like build a community. And that was what was so great about that time. I felt like I belonged. I felt like I wasn't alone. Yes,
Mhm.
digital IAX. I think that's the name of the group I met Stella in, and it was just everyone learning from each other. It was such a good time because I had not experienced all of that since my journey into fashion. It was almost like I was always the lone wolf. I was always the one on my
Yeah.
own trying to create, but it was
Trying to learn
it
on
was
your
very,
own, like solo
yeah,
learner.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was very encouraging seeing people struggle the same way I struggle with the things I struggle
Mhm.
with, and like literally being honest about your journeys, and just making me feel like I'm not alone, and everything
Of
I've been through
course.
to get to where I am. I literally, other people have been through that as well. So it was really good. So yeah. So from then till now, I still work in traditional fashion for like my 9 to 5,
Mhm.
and I
Mhm.
freelance with my digital fashion and also traditional fashion. Like I said, I only brand my physical fashion brand, and but we are taking
Mhm.
like a different approach this time, because
Mhm.
digital fashion has like brought me, or has changed the way I look at fashion generally. So yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
much my journey. Yeah, that's pretty
Oh,
much my
look at
journey.
that. That is so beautiful.
Thank
Oh my
you.
gosh. So I think the question that is really popping up in my mind right now is like, have you always wanted to be in fashion? Have you always loved fashion? Like, was it always there for you?
Um, in the beginning, it wasn't fashion because it wasn't clear. In the beginning, it was always art because, like I said,
Yeah.
drawing came easy to me. I could draw anything. I could look at something and just draw it, and it just felt like I was going to be an artist. But as I kept on practicing, and then as I kept on watching my mom dresses up a lot. Growing up, I used to watch her dress up a lot, and like the things she usually wear and all of that. So I'm very introverted, and fashion was the only way I could like really communicate. Drawing whatever that was in my mind was the only way I could
Mhm.
communicate. It was not on up until maybe secondary, we call it secondary school, but it's high school basically. Not until high school did I literally start, you know, deciding that okay, it's actually fashion I want to do. It's actually fashion I want to focus my creativity on, and that's when I
Mhm.
started taking the steps to create or to learn pattern drafting, learning how to sew. My sewing journey was crazy. I had to go to like a
Yeah. Oh,
technical
wow.
school in Lagos, yeah, to learn how to sew. And like, yeah, that was when I found out that I wanted to do fashion, and I've chased it since then. So every job I've ever worked in my life, in my whole life, has just been fashion, and I'm grateful for like that
Oh, how
opportunity because not
beautiful.
everyone, yeah, not everyone gets the chance to chase their dreams
Yeah.
the way I have. I've been so stubborn about it. My parents didn't
Mhm.
approve from the beginning, but I had to prove to them that this was something I wanted to do. This was something I was gifted at, and
Mhm.
seeing all the achievements I had gained from when I started till now, running my own brand,
Yeah.
having my own business at such a young age. My
Oh
dad
my
finally
gosh.
said, "Okay,
Wow.
is this what you want to do? Then do it." And it has
Yeah.
been like that since then. Yeah.
That's amazing that you have that support. From what I'm hearing, like from your parents to your brother, like you have people who support you, and I think that is such a gift. That's such a gift.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my next question is, how did you um so you talked about how you got started in digital fashion design. A lot of it
Mhm.
was in 2020. My question for you is, what inspires you to create your designs? What's your inspiration? Is it color? Is it going back to the patterns? Like, what inspires you?
I feel like it's everything. Um, I feel like it's everything. For me, I try not to consume as much on the internet because it just messes with your head. But I feel like
Oh my gosh, yes.
I can just I can just look at like an object and just be inspired by the shape, or look at a color and say, okay, this would look good. So it just depends on my mood at the same time, because we creatives, we thrive on that whole mood thing when you're like in a creative mood or you're drained and stuff like that. And also, like, my brother is an artist as well, so I also get
Okay. Yeah.
inspiration from his work, and like just being around people that uplift me basically. So if I'm in a great mood,
Mhm.
trust that I'm going to design something that's good. But if I'm in a bad mood, trust me, I'm not. Whatever I'm designing is rubbish. Yeah, so I feel like it all depends on my mood and my environment. So wherever I find myself, be it in the UK or in South Africa, because those are places I've been to, I just feel like different phases of my life, different places inspires me. And also the relationships I have currently in my life also inspires me to
Mhm.
create. So yeah.
I I like what you said, and I feel like it's so validating hearing what you said, that you try not to look at the internet that much because it does mess with your head. That's something that I've started implementing with myself as well. Like the good thing about the
Mhm.
internet is that it connects you. It connects you to people. Like we're
Yeah.
meeting right now from California to Lagos, Nigeria because of the internet. But sometimes like that
Mhm.
access to too much information, like too many different
Yeah.
ideas. I think sometimes it can cloud out your like genuine, unique creativity. So
Mhm.
that's something that I started implementing myself as well. Is like, yeah, don't look too much at the internet if you want to be
Yeah,
a
especially
genuine creator.
especially if you're a creative, I feel like it's very difficult to turn down the noise, especially now. that it's so easy to be on the internet all day doom scrolling and just like
Yeah.
comparing yourself to like other creatives. Then you like, I
Mhm.
just want to create like that person, and before you know it, you're literally creating something similar to someone else's work, and that doesn't even speak to your true identity. So it's always best to err on the side of caution and just, carve out time away from the internet to do creative work, if at all you actually have projects that require that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. That's a very great point. And I think that's also great
mhm.
advice for anyone who's watching. Um So, since the Alana Project is an educational platform that is geared towards um, helping creatives get into Web3, my question for you is, what do you know about Web3? Can you explain something in Web that's explain something about Web3 that maybe we don't know?
uh, so I would explain something that I am currently um, doing, or I'm currently practicalizing in my business, which is digital
Mm-hmm.
fashion.
Mm-hmm.
So digital fashion basically is physical and digital fashion together, right? So
Mm-hmm.
is also using digital tools to create physical fashion, right? It means
Mm-hmm.
a fashion that exists both in the digital space and the physical space. So, for example, if I
Mm-hmm.
take you through my workflow of creating a collection, after the sketching and everything, I go into Clo to create my 3D prototype. And after I'm done with my 3D prototype, I literally print out the patterns from my Clo software and literally, cut them up on my drafting table and sew them up with a fabric. And literally, I created fashion from digital to physical. So it doesn't only
Ooh.
exist in the physical at this point, you also exist in the digital world. So I can literally create a virtual show from it. I can also export it and put it in different digital worlds as well.
Okay.
Like, yeah, in those digital spaces. I can also view it in AR and VR. I can create filters from it for virtual try-ons that people want to wear or just try on and see how it looks on their body type and stuff like that. So I feel like digital fashion, more brands should literally look into adopting those
Incorporate.
types of that workflow, yeah, incorporating that workflow in their creative processes. I feel like it's a more
Mm-hmm.
sustainable approach to
Yeah.
physical fashion. Yeah, it's just a more sustainable approach, and that's what I'm working on this year.
Oh, that's so wonderful. And I think that's the amazing thing about even like with Web3 is that when you have digital designs, you're able to have ownership. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Oh, somebody says so inspiring, Jessica. I would love to know what are the unexpected challenges you have faced when you shifted to digital? And also, what is your very personal signature in your work? Ooh, what a great question. That's a great question.
Hi, thank you so much. Unexpected challenges I faced is the learning curve. So I found that creating digital work, you require different softwares, and for every software, there's a learning curve, and is literally things like that kind of hold me back from creating at the level I want to create,
Mhm.
because you literally have to learn and get to that point in your learning journey for a particular software like Maya now. Last year I started learning how to create brooms because I just couldn't find hairstyles I'm used to seeing from Africa is mostly Caucasian
Okay.
hairstyles or Asian hairstyles. And if I wanted to create, in terms of like my brand identity and representing the African space in my fashion pieces, I would require like, African hairstyles. I literally had to take some time off from a project I was working on. To be able to learn that software, I had to learn how to navigate in Maya, the tools,
Mm-hmm.
before I even
Yes.
started learning how to create those hairstyles. So the barrier to entry, number one, the learning curve, number
Mm-hmm.
two, and digital fashion is expensive. Moving into digital is very expensive. From the hardware to the software is very, very expensive. Um, the laptop I use currently is very expensive. The monitor,
Yes.
the
Yes.
software, like I mentioned,
Yeah.
Flow is $15 a month. Maya, you have to pay subscription depending on how much you use it. Blender is free, but to be able to use Blender to its full capacity, you need add-ons. Add-ons are not free, and they're not cheap either. So, like all of those
Mm-hmm.
things, by the time you put them into like perspective and look at them in the big picture, you see that is literally an expensive hobby. So it's not my hobby. I literally use it to to work and like get clients. So digital can, yeah, it can only be a hobby if you can afford it, if you have a second job that is paying for it, but it's very expensive in terms of
Yeah.
barrier to entry. Yeah.
Yeah.
My personal signature, I think the second question, my personal signature in my work. Um, I try to create things in color. I think I love color a lot. Um, I love
Mm.
bright colors. Yeah, I'm not a black person. I do respect people that wear black a lot. I also wear black a lot sometimes. But in my pieces, in my digital pieces I create or physical pieces I create, I try to
Very
incorporate colors
colorful.
because yeah, colors tend to affect people's mood. And
Yeah, they
also
pop.
when you yeah, and when you wear certain colors to certain places and you walk into a room, it literally can change the mood of a room. So I take that into consideration when designing. And also myself, I feel like the way I look at things is different from how you look at things, Elaine, and how Stella would look at things, and how I would have interpret those things I see into a design is different from how you would interpret those things into a design. So everyone's point of view is almost like a unique selling point for everybody. So if you're able to train yourself to the point where you know your creative processes, you know what inspires you, you know what get your creative juices flowing, and you know how to put pen to paper to literally interpret whatever you're seeing, whatever that inspired you, and create something unique from that. That's just a unique selling point on its own. On its own, yeah.
I love that. Okay, let's talk about stitched petunias because even that is a very colorful piece. It's beautiful. For those who don't know, Stitched Petunias is Jessica James' contribution in the Alana magazine, and it's so beautiful. And I want to ask what inspired this artwork and what is the story you'd like to tell with this piece?
Um, I feel like I've always been drawn to nature in like most of the pieces
Mm,
I create, prints, like if you look at my work, I always like to be inspired by nature, prints, flowers, plants, all of those things. And this is just one of those pieces that was truly inspired by flowers and just being in the space of a garden. A garden is very therapeutic
mm,
to be around, especially because I visited the botanical gardens in Cape Town, I think
mm-hmm.
last year. And I created this work, I think 2 years ago, and I did visit that garden 2 years ago. And I had these pictures of some wildflowers I saw, and that was what inspired the shape of the sleeve because the dress is just a bodycon dress with a deep V
Wow.
neckline, and I wanted something
Yeah.
that stood
Very
out,
nice.
which were literally the sleeves. So that was what inspired the shape of the sleeve, and also the prints. I created those prints
Mm,
myself to yeah, to incorporate the colors I saw at the garden. It was mostly pinks and oranges. So I just wanted to play on those colors and also design an environment that reflected that. So she's literally in a serene environment. I can't get over the hair. Oh my gosh. The hair. And like basically I was just inspired by my trip to the botanical gardens in Cape Town. Yeah,
That is
that
so
was very
beautiful.
relaxing.
I feel like even looking at it, I feel like it smells good. And I can't even smell it, but all the flowers, all the like the flowery inspirations, it just looks like it smells good.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, so yeah, my next question is what is your latest work that you are most proud of?
um, I would say it's a new piece I created for the Psyche platform. I haven't posted about it yet. It's called,
Oh.
yeah, Abysmal Bloom, and it's a play on my Alien collection. I released that collection, I think, 3 years ago. That was like almost my first real digital collection when I started digital fashion, and I wanted
Mhm.
to create a 2.0 version of that collection because I loved it so much, and I still get questions about it till today about producing a physical collection of that collection. So I thought it would be a good
Oh.
idea to create a more wearable but still on the avant-garde side of things for that particular
Mhm.
collection. I don't know if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can share that
Yeah,
for you guys
let's
to
see. Let's see
see.
if we can share your screen.
Let me see. Okay, just give me a minute. Let's see.
Because I'm wondering, I'm like, do we have that? Do we have that on our end?
No, I haven't shared it yet with anyone.
Dang it. Well, this sounds like we got an exclusive right now.
I know, right? Okay, so
The
I
world
think I'm sharing
premiere.
now.
Okay.
Can
Fingers
you see my
crossed.
screen? Can you see my screen
Mm,
now?
not yet. It probably just needs a. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay,
I see myself
now
in
I can see
everything.
my screen. So this is what the piece
Ooh.
looks like. This is just like a social media post I created to
Okay.
basically explain the collection. So it's the Alien 2.0 collection, inspired by my avatar Celestia.
Oh,
So this
wow.
is basically the first piece from the collection. So I also wanted to play around with fabric manipulation techniques. You don't see a lot of that in digital fashion because it's so hard to even get it in physical fashion. And to do that in digital fashion was challenging for me, but I got a hang of
Mhm.
it. Um, so this is just a close up
Wow.
of the piece. Let me see, maybe show the video. Uh, it's kind of blocky on this side. Let me see if I can play the video on its own
Okay.
because I did like an animation. Okay, let's see.
The world premiere.
I mean, it's on Psyche, so you can check it out on Psyche. It's on sale currently on Psyche, but I haven't posted on socials about it just yet
Okay.
because yeah, I'm still taking a break from socials. I haven't posted this year. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, so basically, this is the first piece. Um, this whole collection was basically inspired by the jellyfish. That was what
Mhm.
the first collection was inspired by, and also inspired by my avatar, my digital avatar called Celestia. She's one of my favorite
Celestia.
avatars. Yeah, Celestia. So she has a personality on her own. I'm also trying to build a story behind um, the creation, me creating her. So yeah, so that's my most recent piece currently. There's more still coming. Yes, that's Celestia.
Oh,
So that's
wow.
yeah. Yeah, which was like
Oh
my
my
best
gosh.
hybrid avatar I created. So yeah.
Oh my gosh. It looks like so real yet surreal. And
Yeah.
I think that's the part about digital fashion that's still blowing my mind. Like it looks so real,
Mhm.
but you created her.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah. So
Wow.
I'm still basically working on her,
Mhm.
but I plan to
Wow.
post more about her, and she just like being a persona of her own. So she's going to be a digital influencer in the space. That's
How
the bigger
exciting.
picture plan. Yeah, I can't wait to start posting. But yeah, there's still so much work to be done. So,
How exciting. Okay, so I feel like this conversation has been amazing, and we're finally reaching the end of the stream. But I feel like we can keep talking and talking for like 2 more hours.
I
There's
know,
just so
right?
much to discuss.
I know,
But yeah,
right?
like, so as we close out, I would like to ask, what do you, as a digital fashion designer, as an illustrator and a 3D generalist, what do you hope to accomplish one day?
Um, that's that's such a hard question, but so easy at the
Yeah,
same time
yeah.
because it just takes you back to why you're doing what you're doing. Why I wake up every morning
Mhm.
to create what I create is um the end thing is not just to build a brand that would outlast me, right?
Mhm.
Um, it's also to build a brand that inspires women from where I'm coming from. So my journey
Mhm.
hasn't been an easy one. It hasn't been the most like straightforward journey because there
Yeah.
are a lot of bumps in the road I have experienced, be it from my family not having the support I needed initially, and be
Mhm.
from just my experience with working with bad bosses, horrible
Oh yeah,
teams,
yeah.
all of those things. Yeah, the fashion space is not really like a healthy space if you're literally in mainstream fashion, which I've worked in for so many years. Is really not a healthy space, and like just create more of a healthy space for people coming into the space basically,
Mhm.
to also share my story in a way that people can actually see that you struggle and it's okay to struggle, but at the end of the day if you just keep going you would get, or you would achieve the goals you set out for yourself. Because
Mhm.
like we like I've noticed, right, um, growing up and trying to see or trying to find mentors in the space, you only see like the finished product. You don't see behind the scenes
Yeah.
a lot. People just assume that fashion is all, glittery, glamour.
Mhm.
There's no, a lot of hard work that goes into it. I literally want to show people or inspire people with my journey, with my story, with the brand I create, that, it's okay to go through all of these things. And it's okay to see that, it's not all glitz and glamour. But at the end of the day, it's very fulfilling. When I get that, oh, thank you, Jessica, you blew my mind, or
Yeah.
thank you, Jessica, this was more than I expected from clients, right? Those are the moments that literally makes it all worth it. When I get those random DMs of people that are following me, that have been following me for a while, telling me, "Oh, Jessica, I've been following you for a while," and it's very inspiring seeing
Mhm.
your journey from where you started from. It does something in me, like, and it always comes
Yes.
at a point where I'm really low, I'm really
And you
drained,
need it.
or one, yeah, one bad
You
experience
need to
has,
hear it.
left me discouraged, right? So I want to be that constant, um I don't want to call it light, a constant person that people
Yeah.
can, or brand that people can come to and still see she's still pushing it, she's still making it. I've had like very high successes and very low lows, trust me,
Mhm.
and I'm still here just because I love it so
Mhm.
much. I don't even see myself doing any other thing apart from fashion, right?
That's
So
amazing. That's
at the end of the
amazing.
day, I want to build a brand that outlives me. Brands and brands like Chanel, Valentino, those the founders, most of them are not even alive today. And we don't see a lot
Mhm.
of those type of brands coming out of Africa. And it's not news to me. It's something I've noticed. I literally want to build a brand like that that literally outlives me, that runs without me always being there,
Mhm.
micromanaging things. We don't have those type of structures or systems that are like
Mhm.
so common in Africa. It's not like we don't have it at all. We do have it, but it's not as common in terms of like running a fashion brand. Because even till today, in some places, fashion isn't even taken as seriously as it being a really big deal. It's mostly seen as, oh, you just want to be a tailor. That's what my
Oh.
parents thought I wanted to be when I told them I wanted to do fashion, right? It's always like, oh, you'd go to university, get a degree, and you're telling me you want to be a tailor.
Mhm.
Why do you want to be a tailor
Mhm.
when you could be a doctor? Because I studied biochemistry. The plan was for me to be a
Yes,
doctor,
yes.
and like, they were pushing me to be a doctor, and I just couldn't see myself, you know, doing that. Right? I
Yeah,
get sick
yeah.
from the smell of drugs. So I can't even imagine living my life like that. So I mean,
Yeah,
every
it
African,
wasn't
most
your
African parents
dream.
will tell you, yeah, you want to be a tailor, like that's ridiculous. You need to be something that would literally secure you for the future. But you see people doing it. You see people like Kai Collective, Visaya from Kai Collective. You see Annie Hanifa. She's African. She's from an African descent, doing it, building brands, multi-million dollar brands, and literally making a
Mhm.
living and living a life from just building that brand. So that is where like I see myself
That's
going into
amazing.
like in the next couple of years. Yeah.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna
I
come
know.
true.
I know. We're getting there slowly but surely, you know.
Legacy. Yeah, you got this. So my
Exactly.
last question, oh, that is so beautiful. I love seeing the clips, and I love that it these are designs that are coming to life. I love like how you can like rotate it and show it off. Like that's awesome. So my last question for you as we close out is what advice would you give to someone who is curious about fashion and fashion tech?
Hmm. Um, to not be discouraged. I feel like there's a lot of barriers to getting into the space. Like I mentioned
Mhm.
earlier, the cost of entry, you know, learning curve, all of those things. I feel like there were so many times I could have stopped because it was just so hard, right? But I
Mhm.
didn't because I had so much passion for what I was doing and what I wanted to create, right? The advice I'll give anyone starting out is to get as much info as possible about the space before actually deciding to start on it, and do not come into it full time. When I mean full time, have something else you're doing just in case it doesn't
Mm.
work out, or just in case you find out that you truly do not have as much passion for it, because it can be very, very hard. Can be very, very hard at times. Just
Mhm.
finding the zeal or the passion to keep working and keep building, because it's very
Yes.
easy for you to be discouraged because of all of those downtimes, right? And
Mhm.
be be informed. Just be informed. I don't think I was as well informed when I came into the space, so I made a lot of mistakes. Follow people that have done it before, that have started
Okay.
this journey. Don't just assume you know stuff, and always be open to learn. I'm still taking courses right now. I've been in digital fashion for what, 4 years now, and I'm literally still taking courses. I have a whole roster or schedule of courses I'm taking this year, and it's a lot, and I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to finish. So some are still going to be taking next year. So be open to
Mhm.
learning. Every day is a learning journey. Don't just assume that, oh, you know how to do this now. You don't need to improve or evolve. The space
Mhm.
is evolving
Mhm.
every day. With the advent of AI, and taking over jobs. You can't just be sitting down and be expecting that the skill you learnt yesterday is the same skill that is applicable today. No, you need to grow, you need to learn, you need to improve, you need to get better. You
Yes.
need to also move with the trends of the space, because the space is so fast paced that it's very easy to be left behind in terms of the services you can offer to clients, right?
Mhm.
So be open to learning. Yeah, I think those are like my main advice for people who are curious about the space.
Mhm. I'm over here taking notes too. Like got it. All right.
Yeah, it was so good
Awesome.
having this conversation.
Such a great conversation. I said, I feel like we can keep going on and on, but we do have a time cap that I want to respect. So I just want to thank everybody who has tuned in or who will tune in the future. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Alana Magazine podcast. We have had an amazing conversation with our wonderful guest, Jessica James. Also, we are currently working on the Alana Magazine Air Edition. So, right now, we are asking that for those who want to support the Alana Magazine and the podcast, please scan the QR code below and vote for us on Artisan so we can get curated, so we can get funding for the magazine. So, that would be amazing if you guys could do that. Again, Jessica, thank you so much for your
Thank you too.
conversation, your designs. We got to discuss your designs, and thank you so much for Stitched Petunias and contributing to the Alana Magazine Earth Edition. So
You're welcome.
yeah, it was wonderful conversation. Thank you, everyone. You have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, and take care. Bye.